What if I told you some of the world's biggest car brands aren't just struggling overseas, they're on the verge of vanishing from the US and European market altogether? Stellantis is shutting down plants, Chrysler is barely clinging to life, and Jaguar, once the pride of British luxury, is now seconds from collapse. This isn't a slowdown, it's an industry meltdown. By the end of 2026, 5 major car brands could disappear completely or pull out of the US and European market for good. And here's the scary part. Most American drivers won't see it coming until their warranty is worthless, their dealership's gone, and their car's value tanks overnight. So stay with me until the end, because after the final car brand, there's a bonus segment about a car company so massive, its downfall could drag the entire American car market down with it. Let's get right into it, with a name you'd never expect to see on this list. A brand once dripping with passion and performance, now on life support. Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo was supposed to be the comeback story, an Italian icon reborn for a new era. But instead, it's quietly becoming one of the first casualties of 2026. In the US, Alfa barely moves 11,000 cars a year. That's less than what Toyota sells every single day. The Tonale, their make-or-break hybrid SUV, launched with hype, but it's already tanking. Dealers report inventory sitting for months, while resale values plunge faster than any other compact luxury crossover. In Europe, things aren't any better. Alfa sold just 46,000 vehicles across the entire continent in 2024 total. The once proud brand that defined Italian performance now holds less than 0.4% of the market. Stellantis promised a massive $30 billion investment to electrify Alfa by 2027, but insiders say less than $2 billion has actually been delivered. The rest went to Jeep, Citroën, and Peugeot, brands with bigger profits and less baggage. Now the cracks are impossible to hide. Alfa's dealer network has collapsed from 800 to under 500 locations in Europe, and in the US, more than a dozen showrooms have closed since 2022. Service parts are delayed, warranty repairs are getting harder to process, and owners are seeing resale values evaporate before their loans are paid off. And here's the hard truth. The Giulia and Stelvio are beautiful machines, but passion doesn't pay the bills. Without a profitable electrical vehicle lineup, dealer support, or corporate investment, Alfa Romeo is running out of cash and out of time. At this pace, Alfa won't just fade, it'll vanish quietly, swallowed by Stellantis before 2026 is over. Alfa was slowly starved to death by neglect, but the next brand is digging its own grave, betting everything on a risky all-electric gamble that could wipe it out completely. Jaguar. Once the car of royalty, movie stars, and luxury dreams, is now on life support. The British automaker's plan to go fully electric by 2026 was supposed to save the brand. Instead, it's turned into one of the biggest miscalculations in luxury car history. Jaguar has completely stopped developing new gasoline models, and that decision has left its showrooms empty. Dealers are now facing an 18-month product blackout. No new vehicles to sell until the next generation of electric vehicles arrives. In the US, several dealerships have already closed or merged with Land Rover just to stay afloat. Sales have fallen off a cliff. In 2018, Jaguar sold 42,000 cars in the US. By 2024, that number dropped below 8,000, a decline of more than 80%. Globally, it's even worse. The brand once sold over 180,000 cars a year. Now, it's under 60,000. And while other brands are offering affordable electric options, Jaguar is moving upmarket, with electric vehicles rumored to start around $100,000. But here's the problem. Bentley buyers don't want Jaguars, and Jaguar buyers can't afford Bentleys. They're abandoning the middle ground and alienating both markets in one move. Their dealer network is collapsing too. In Europe, over 600 Jaguar locations will shrink to fewer than 50 experience centers. In the US, warranty and parts delays are driving owners insane. Some report waiting months for simple repairs. That's devastating for resale values and insurance ratings, which have already started to sink. Meanwhile, Jaguar's only electric car, the I-Pace, went from award-winning to obsolete. Its range lags behind Tesla and Mercedes, its battery tech is outdated, and sales dropped 60% in 2 years. Even J.D. Power ranks Jaguar near the bottom for reliability, below Alfa Romeo and Land Rover. At this point, Jaguar isn't competing, it's disappearing. Without dealers, new models, or loyal buyers, Jaguar's transformation into an EV-only brand isn't a rebirth, it's the final chapter. And if they don't reverse course fast, Jaguar won't survive the year 2026. The next automaker didn't go out swinging. It's been quietly bleeding for years, and the numbers are far uglier than anyone admits. Fiat. Fiat is the perfect example of a brand that ran out of time and out of buyers. Once the pride of Italy, Fiat's US comeback was supposed to be a rebirth. Instead, it became one of the fastest brand collapses in modern automotive history. When Fiat returned to America in 2011, its marketing screamed, "Fun, affordable European style." For a moment, it worked. The little 500 was everywhere. But that moment didn't last. In 2012, Fiat sold 47,000 cars in the US. By 2024, that number dropped to just 1,400. That's not a typo. Most Toyota dealers sell more cars in a weekend than Fiat does in an entire year. The lineup has all but vanished. The 500X is outdated, the 124 Spider was discontinued, and the new 500e electrical vehicle, which Stellantis claimed would revive the brand, arrived years late with minimal buzz. It's small, overpriced, and offers just 149 miles of range, barely half of what most US electrical vehicle buyers now expect. Even Fiat's dealers have lost faith. The brand has fewer than 90 active US dealerships, and most only keep their franchise alive because Stellantis bundles it with Jeep or Ram. Many don't even stock new Fiats, they just take special orders. Globally, Fiat isn't much healthier. The Panda and 500 still sell in Europe, but at rock-bottom prices that leave paper-thin margins. Stellantis has already cut Fiat from key markets like India, Japan, and Australia, and is merging its engineering teams with Peugeot and Citroën to save money. The numbers tell the story. Fiat's global sales have dropped over 60% in the last decade, and its profits per car are among the lowest in the industry. Even Stellantis insiders admit the brand survives mainly for emissions credits and nostalgic value, not for profit. In the US, the writing's already on the wall. With almost no marketing, limited parts supply, and EVs that can't compete with Tesla, Hyundai, or Chevrolet, Fiat's North American presence is living on borrowed time. By the end of 2026, most analysts expect Fiat to quietly exit the US. No announcement, no farewell campaign, just a quiet disappearance from dealer lots. Fiat isn't evolving, it's evaporating. And unless Stellantis performs a miracle, this once-beloved Italian icon will soon join the list of car brands that simply didn't survive 2026. Fiat's decline was slow, but the next one? It's brutal. We're talking about a brand that once defined American roads, now gasping for relevance with nothing left to sell. Chrysler. Once the heartbeat of American car culture, Chrysler today is barely keeping the engine running. In its prime, Chrysler sold more than 2 million vehicles a year in the US. Today, it barely registers on the radar. In 2024, Chrysler moved just 130,000 units, down another 10% year over year, with nearly 70% of those being fleet or rental sales. Its lineup has all but vanished. The 300 sedan was discontinued in 2023 after nearly 2 decades, and the Pacifica minivan is the brand's last survivor, an expensive model in a shrinking segment. Even the Pacifica Hybrid, priced around $50,000, is getting crushed by Toyota and Kia, with sales down 27% in 2024 alone. Globally, Chrysler is virtually extinct. The brand sold just 185 cars in all of Europe last year, most through Jeep dealerships that barely mention it. It hasn't had a standalone Chrysler dealer network since 2011, and Stellantis hasn't invested in a new US plant or platform for Chrysler in almost a decade. Stellantis keeps teasing a comeback, promising futuristic electric vehicles and concept cars like the Airflow, but it's all vaporware. Behind the scenes, insiders say Stellantis plans to rebadge the Peugeot 508 as a Chrysler electric vehicle to fill emissions requirements, a cheap short-term accounting trick, not a revival. The brand's identity problem runs deep. Chrysler used to represent American comfort and innovation. Now, it represents indecision. Its average buyer age is over 60. It holds less than 0.4% of US market share, and resale values have collapsed. 3-year depreciation exceeds 60%, and warranty claims are being quietly redirected through Dodge and Jeep service networks. Meanwhile, Chrysler dealerships across the country are merging, closing, or stripping signage altogether. Many now use their showroom floor to push Jeeps or Rams instead, leaving Chrysler to die quietly in the corner. And here's the harsh reality. In an electric vehicle-dominated future, Chrysler has no lineup, no identity, and no profit. Even Stellantis executives have admitted privately, "We can't save every brand." Unless a miracle happens, Chrysler will be phased out of the US market by 2026, not with a press release, but with silence. Chrysler's collapse is sad, but the next story is worse. It's not just a brand fading away, it's a company that's become a ghost of itself, haunting the few showrooms it has left. Mitsubishi. Once a powerhouse of Japanese engineering, has gone from rally legend to retail ghost. In the US, its fall has been staggering. Back in 2002, Mitsubishi sold over 345,000 vehicles. By 2024, that number crashed to just 88,000, its weakest performance in more than 2 decades. Over half of those sales now come from one model, the Outlander, which is mostly Nissan under the skin. The rest of the lineup is practically invisible. The Eclipse Cross is outdated. The Mirage, their cheapest car, was discontinued in 2024, and the brand has no new electric vehicles or hybrids coming until at least 2026. That's a death sentence in today's market. Dealers are disappearing too. Since 2020, over 60 Mitsubishi dealerships have closed across the US, and parts shortages mean some owners wait months for basic warranty repairs. A 3-year-old Mitsubishi now loses nearly 60% of its value, one of the worst rates in the industry. Globally, the story's no better. Mitsubishi has withdrawn from the UK, slashed European operations, and seen global sales drop 27% in 2024 alone. Its once proud R&D team is now fully absorbed by the Renault-Nissan alliance, ending Mitsubishi's independence. At this point, Mitsubishi is surviving on borrowed time, minimal profits, no innovation, and fading identity. Analysts warn the brand could exit the US market entirely by 2026, folding what's left into Nissan's lineup. Mitsubishi's downfall is bad, but what comes next is catastrophic. The next name on this list isn't a single brand. It's a global giant unraveling from the inside, and when it falls, it could take part of the entire car industry down with it. Stellantis. When an empire collapses, every brand beneath it burns. Stellantis, the parent company of Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Chrysler, Fiat, Peugeot, and 14 global brands, is now the most overextended automaker on Earth. And the numbers show why it may not survive 2026 in its current form. The company is drowning in over $40 billion of debt, burning through nearly $2 billion every quarter, while global sales have plunged 25% in the past year. Its stock has collapsed by 45%. CEO Carlos Tavares has stepped down, and insiders are calling the boardroom a civil war. Here's the problem. Stellantis isn't one car company. It's 14 struggling ones. The group is juggling 50 platforms, 165 factories, and 250,000 employees spread across 3 continents. Toyota, by comparison, builds twice as many cars with a third of that footprint. The math doesn't work. In Europe, Stellantis is closing 15 factories by 2025, including key Peugeot and Fiat plants in Italy and France. Meanwhile, Nissan and Toyota are gaining ground in hybrid sales, while Chinese EV brands like BYD and MG are rapidly stealing market share. But the real storm is coming to the US. Chrysler is down to 1 model, Dodge is losing sales to Ford and Tesla, and Jeep, once the golden goose, saw US sales drop 19% in 2024, its worst performance in over a decade. Dealers are reporting excess inventory and shrinking warranty reimbursements as Stellantis slashes costs to stay solvent. Now, Chinese automakers are circling. BYD, Geely, and Dongfeng have already made informal offers to buy parts parts of Stellantis' European operations. The EU Commission has even started contingency planning for what it calls a controlled collapse, not if, but when. The danger for American drivers? A corporate implosion that spreads down the chain. If Stellantis breaks apart, warranties could be voided overnight. Replacement parts for brands like Jeep, Ram, Alfa Romeo, and Fiat would dry up, and resale values could nosedive across the board. Insurance companies are already reacting. Some providers have begun adjusting coverage rates for Stellantis vehicles due to brand instability risk. Even lenders are tightening financing on older Jeep and Dodge models. For consumers, the message couldn't be clearer. Buy from automakers with stability, clear dealer backing, and healthy balance sheets. Because when a corporate empire like Stellantis collapses, it doesn't just take brands with it. It takes millions of car owners down too. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of the 5 car brands that may not make it past 2026. The auto world's changing fast, so stay tuned, because the next collapse might be even closer to home.